Well, you guys, if you've made it this far, I think this will be video 10 of the set of how to train a Harris Hawk. Well done, you. It is meant to be the most detailed, helpful how to train a Harris Hawk instruction booklet on YouTube that there ever has been. I hope it's helped some of you. Now, it's great. I get a lot of good feedback from people saying, it has helped and some great tips. Brilliant. It's not complete unless we discuss hunting with the hawks. And I've had a quandary, and this has been the most difficult one for me. So if you've been watching it from the start, you'll know this guy was winter hatched. They nested on the ground in the breeding chamber. Their nest was removed for the winter, and his tail came out of its waxy sheaths in a damp state. So he's got a very weak tail, which I don't really want to break. He's also tiny. Hold on. He's also very, very small. For me, a Harris Hawk that you get out of the breeding chamber at 1 pound, 5 ounces, to me is tiny from our Harris Hawk. I know that people fly at 1 pound, 2 ounces and things. Dodgy tail, I don't want to break. A small bird, a small Harris Hawk that we've only got now the best winter fit rabbits. They're weighing in at 3.5 pounds. They're muscle bound powerhouses. I know. So I don't really want to. I don't know if I want to put the time into risking getting a good kick in off of the odd rabbit I can find. We don't have many here at all. But we do need to discuss. Not that kind of discussion. We do need to discuss hunting. There's no point else. There's no point in getting a Harris Hawk. This one's job is to fly in schools and for experience days. But I still believe that hunting gets the best bond with your hawk. Whether you're not going to hunt with it full time, developing a proper hunting situation, hang on, your voice will be louder than mine, is going to really make a difference with your hawk for sure. I would like him to be a good hunting hawk, even if it's only for one season, to really get that bond of trust and that knowledge that we're partners. Hold on, this will get irritating. Yes, I know you can see yourself, but it's you, not another noisy one. You gonna shut up? No. Hold on, man. I probably won't shut him up. So, this is what I've come to. I'm gonna take you all the way up running a carcass, getting your bird to chase a carcass, and then I'm gonna let go of your hand, give you the advice, and you can put the time in to make your first entry in the game book. So, catching game is really difficult. Falconers, especially people getting their first Harris Hawk, they literally say to me all the time, I've got loads of rabbits. I've got 2 big fields and there's loads of rabbits. So in the evening, there's loads there. Guys, you need loads of area and it needs to be ram-packed with game. More than you can ever imagine, because it's likely to take your hawk many, many failed attempts before it learns how to catch and hold game. If you've only got a small patch, it doesn't matter how many rabbits are there. Your ferreting, your evening walks, they're going to get wise to you. You're not going to get relatively easy slips, and you really want to be out as early in autumn as you can get. Late summer, late September, if you get your hawk at the right time of year. Get it out while there's still young, naive bunnies, or whatever you're hunting around. Just like in the wild, the naive young bird of prey really needs to hone its skills on naive young quarry species. I haven't got that. So I'm going to take you through, and I've looked through my freezer. I've pulled out the rabbits we've been catching lately with some of the other birds, and I've just thought, they're massive. It's like a really, really big hare for a young, small hare hawk. So I've gone for a squirrel. I did think female pheasant. I thought crows. I've got all sorts in that freezer. I don't particularly want him to focus on feather. He has to sit around with other birds. Accidents can happen, and even when you're the most vigilant person. So fur is a better choice, and I'm going to go for a full-grown squirrel. So I'm going to get a squirrel, and I'm going to talk you through carcass work. Give you a tip: don't bother doing lure work of any kind with your young bird to start with. Stop it now. Use your lure work for exercise when you've got a made hawk. Whatever you do, a lure is a lure. It's light, it doesn't fight, it doesn't move like real quarry. You're probably going to put a chick on it and the bird's focusing on the chick. Hold on, we'll talk about that in a minute. Focusing on the chick. Use a carcass. Beg, borrow, catch, steal. Get your mate to get you a carcass of the quarry you're going to hunt. So if you're going to hunt rabbits, get a rabbit carcass for sure. I'll talk you through that in this episode. vocalization. This guy was always going to be vocal. That was never going to not happen due to how he was reared and how I've had to train him for his special job. I'm going to talk you through in a separate video. This is going to be the last video on how to train, I think. I'm going to talk you through a future video what causes vocalization in these hawks, not just Harris hawks, but maybe especially Harris's hawks because of their social nature. I'm going to talk you through causes. I'm going to talk you through, therefore, possible ways to prevent it. That's in a future video. I'm also going to talk you through a walkthrough of using radio telemetry. But for now, let's go and see how we work the bird upwards to catching live game. Okay, we're going to do a run on quarry. We're going to use a squirrel, a big squirrel, because it's a bit more of appropriate size for him. But I've removed the tail, so it actually doesn't look that squirrel-like, because at the end of the day, I don't want him chasing squirrels any more than I want him chasing the pheasants on the estate while we're flying him on experience days. Yours is for hunting, ours mostly isn't. So I'm going to get you up to the point now. We want to chase that lure. I've opened up the shoulder of the squirrel, so I've already got a point I can get him feeding on. Harris hawks will either nail the first thing that runs out in front of them, the carcass, let's say. Remember, don't bother with a lure, use a real live carcass. Don't tie a chick on it, have a bit of meat ready on show, open it up a little bit at the front end so it can feed. They will either chase stuff like this as soon as it comes out, or they'll chase it sort of haphazardly and land by it and run after it, or they'll ignore it, whatever you do. You're looking for an instant reaction or a quick reaction and it grabbing hold of that lure. When it does, that carcass, when it does, pull and jiggle it about a little bit, because when it catches something in the wild, goodness me, it's so windy. When it catches something in the wild, it's not going to roll over and say, hey, you can eat me now. Make it realise it's got to, don't wreck your bird's feathers and destroy its confidence, but make sure it wriggles about a little bit. If it doesn't take it, the name of the game, we'll give it 3 or 4 attempts. If it doesn't show interest, I'm going to let the bird hop onto it from the glove, feed from it. It then knows that it's food. It knows it's worth having to eat. And then I'll pick it up to a small reward and it will get no more food, and we'll repeat tomorrow as its weight gradually comes down again to kick in that confidence. Just like in the wild, they'll beg from their parents, usually, before they'll really commit to hunting themselves. But once the parents stop feeding them, that desire to kill, bloodlust, starts to increase as their weight goes down and their appetite rises. We're going to see what we can do. I'm going to get Emily to release Henry while I run the lure, and then we'll go through the whole pickup process. Before we start, guys, just look at this. This is something you'll often get on a goshawk, and it's the anklet rubbing and chafing on the back of that, where the hallux, the back toe, meets the ankle, if you like. It's not its ankle, but you know what I mean. Look at that, it's red raw, and it's always caused by this chafing when the bird's tethered. Common on goshawks, hardly ever seen it on a Harris hawk. And the only thing you can do is either not tether the hawk, or really cut the jesses off, cut the anklets off, sorry guys, and fit new ones. Just a slightly different style, probably won't rub at all, but for sure, in your first aid kit, have a tub of F10 ointment, and you want to be rubbing that in there and getting it in there. Don't want that infection. These birds have very little circulation in their feet compared to us, and wounds usually take a long time to heal, so you need to address them the second you see them, like today, and make changes for sure. Warts and all, guys, some stuff to look out for. So, lure tucked away there, very close by, doesn't matter at this stage. Hawk ready to go there, have it tucked in a bit of cover, pull it out on a line. You can do this on yourself, because here you can have a stake in the ground, the line running around it, back to you. You're just looking for the bird to respond to something running away from it. It may not, it might do. We shall see. Hold on.
Dave, have you put telemetry on it?
Okay, now Emily's remembered that I've forgotten to put on telemetry, and he's now wearing telemetry. We'll give it a whirl. Oh, look at that. That's the Harris hawk you want. So give it a little wriggle, because he wants to control that head end. He wants to control the head end, not hold it by the bum. But at this stage, that's plenty of wriggling and fighting. So we're going to make it. Emily's going to swap to camera. and we're going to show you what to do. My first Harris Hawk was exactly like that. I've had Harris Hawks that have took blooming ages to get to commit to something, but don't worry, yours will, whatever. I'm going to switch over to Emily. That was good, wasn't it? So we're going to make into him. We're going to go approach him front on. Helps if the line's still wriggling. Come on, and we're going to. So he's scared of me. Hey, Henry. So I've literally just scared him away. Bless him. If you can keep that wriggling and jiggering on the approach, he's going to be focused on that food. But all part of it, isn't it? Henry. Now what I haven't told you is Henry, despite having a big short change on food yesterday, he's actually very, very overweight. You'll probably have to bring your bird's weight down over a couple of days to actually achieve this result. He's really high, and that nervousness actually made him a little bit scared of me approaching him. Always approach from the front. Don't let the bird turn its back on you. Let's get in there and see if we can make him. Remember, you're massive at this stage. You could let him feed. He should be tame enough with you, well-manned enough that he's not going to be scared of you. This guy, I can tell you now, Henry, this guy is a purely weight-related thing. Henry! A purely weight-related thing. I don't believe in letting the bird calm down and start eating like you would a falcon, because your bird should be that bomb-proof with you at this stage that, to be honest, you're not going to have this problem. Purely weight-related. All we want him to do is feed on this carcass, and we really from the minute go want to be helping him feed. Get our hands in there. We certainly don't want him carrying, and now of course, because he's overweight, I've created a problem for myself. He's more concerned on getting away from me than he is on focusing, killing and feeding on that. What a brilliant start. It's all gone wrong. The bird's overweight, it's behaving nervously to me. Once your bird starts dragging and running away with stuff, it's just a habit in the making. Habits that form are hard to break, remember. We really want that bird to see us as a help. I should have been easily able to get in there and get him feeding. To be honest, I didn't think he'd chase it, he was that fat. So I need to be able to get in there and really show him where the meat is, where I've made a cut. And we just want to let him have a good feed upon the carcass, focusing him that these things are worth catching. So I'm actually going to tip him a little tiny bit of food, because I'm kind of working backwards now. Henry. So treating him a bit like a falcon, first on a lure. Actually, would you believe it, the weight issue is more about him being nervous with me than it is nailing quarry. I've now found myself in the wettest patch of mud here. Okay, we're making headway now. Henry. Remember, this should be his friend, not his enemy, at any point. I'm just going to stay here now I'm here. We're going to let him feed. Once he feeds, then we can move forward. But for sure, you can see he's behaving nervously, not hungrily. Instinct with this bird is really strong. It isn't with all of them, but the appetite is really low. Warm weather as well. So I've kind of, Henry, effed up this when the bird's really keen to go for it by being too high in weight to be okay with me. Henry, I'm not going to mess about too long at this stage. We'll literally pick him up, call him back to a chick leg or something. No food today. That'll be it. He's got the confidence to go for it, but I've ruined it now. He should be feeding on this by now, seeing me and my hands as a helper. Henry. But you can see his actual killing instinct is really strong. Look, it's meat. You can't say to your hawk, you're no good because you're not chasing game, if it doesn't know it's food. Again, it's gone too well to help you too much. If this, really, it would have been better if he just nonchalantly ignored the squirrel being dragged out. That's many hawks are going to do that. Just watch you drag it away, twitch it. He just won't go for it. And at that stage, it's just the glove. At that stage, you're actually looking for the bird to just jump off your glove, seriously, kneel down, hop onto the squirrel and feed. It seems pathetic, but then it knows what it is. And then you can move on. And then you can move on to actually saying to yourself, okay, no more food today, you'll be hungrier tomorrow. If it doesn't know it's food, you can't be mean to it and say, I'm not feeding you unless you chase it. This guy, there's not a lot of appetite going on there at all. So I've held a chick leg against it, tight against it, until he's eaten the chick leg and actually finally pecked at some of the meat. So what we're going to do, we're going to let him eat quite a bit today, even if I film the rest of this in a couple of days, where I can make it and show you really the second half of this sequence, to be honest. So you can see now he's tucking in. So I'm going to let him have a reasonable crop, maybe the size of a golf ball, a decent bit of food, with not me there at this stage. But I say, in a couple of days we'll finish this video, hopefully with him just as keen, but much keener to feed. But we'll see. So I'm going to make into him. I'm going to pick him up to a bit of old chick in my pocket. If this was a kill, personally, I would let my bird feed up well on pretty much every kill for the first season at least. One kill, I'd be packing up and gleefully going home that my birds took game. I'd be letting it feed from the kill, and I'd be cutting off a front leg, which I'll probably go through, and feeding him up, stepping him up rather, to a bit of the hot meat that he's caught. I always think trading off from a hot kill, that isn't hot, don't forget, to a bit of warm chicken, I do sometimes think, oh, what a poor thing. But do you know what? If you let it have a good feed of the hot meat, that's a good reward. Don't let your bird blow out, especially if it's a little bit low in weight, the biggest crop it can have. I know you want to reward it, but the trouble is, it can have trouble putting that massively packed crop over. So give it half, 2/3 a crop, good feed to make it realise all those misses and struggles and things that have got away. If it sticks, it gets the best feed ever. I think crucially important. If someone shot that animal before you caught it with your hawk with lead, there's a chance of your bird getting lead poisoning from eating the lead. It's a chance. If you let your bird catch pigeons and partridge and pheasants, it could catch parasites and diseases like frounce from the pigeons. If it catches rabbits and eats some of the liver and there's cysts on there for tapeworms, or even there's roundworms, your bird could get worms. All these things to decide on. But then the food we buy frozen, some of that comes with its own issues sometimes. I've had birds die from eating perfectly well, in my case, prepared and served quail, but there's something wrong with that quail that I've bought in and it's killed a merlin and made a peregrine very sick. What you feed your birds is up to you. Hunting birds, for me, they get fed on their kills, and they pretty much, certainly to start with, do one kill outings. They're lucky to catch anything at this stage. Don't rob your bird and try and turn it into a hunting machine. Make it into a lifelong hunting partner. So I'm going to get a little bit closer. It's probably as scared of my wellies as anything else. I'm going to move in there. Now he's realised that it's edible, we've got a different bird here, despite the weight. So we're going to pick him up. We don't want any robbery. A cold chick is the worst thing. It's not tough. The bird could keep hold of his prize and eat the chick. So we're going to use our glove to cover most of the animal. Some people, Emily filming, they might use a tea towel and spread it out over the animal. These are visual beings. What he can't see doesn't concern him as much. But cover as much of it as you can. Have your game pocket readily open. And let's see, we'll move him, we'll cover it up, put the food down by his feet, and use your hand on some of it. As he lifts up, he's not going to get one more look at it. As he lifts his beak up to feed, if he's standing on his prey, as he pulls up the food you're offering, lift the glove up slightly. He can't get it. Put it down. When he goes to pull it with his beak again, lift the glove up. In the end, he'll put his feet on your glove to hold it down so he can feed. Now, as he's feeding, surreptitiously step over your quarry, carcass or real life thing, real dead ex real life thing, while the bird's still feeding. Take up the rest of what he's caught for him later, or your pot, put it in your game bag. In my case, it's got a credence line attached. The bird's still feeding off the glove. He's had a good feed from his kill. He's feeding off the glove. No robbery, no foul. He now, when he's finished feeding, it's all gone. And it's all gone swimmingly. We've had no tug of war. We've had no argy-bargy. If you're going to pick up from something it hasn't caught, make it half a rat. Something like that. That's tougher for him to pull at. You've got more time to mess about getting that pickup. It's the middle of February. It's 15 degrees. It's now peeing it down with rain. Emily's filming in a t-shirt. We're going in. Guys, I really hope that's given you an insight into the next step for you, getting your birds hunting. Your bird doesn't take game. It doesn't chase the carcass. Give it 3 or 4 goes, twitch it out. But it's not interested. Then kneel down by the carcass that you've already opened up on the shoulder. Let the bird flop. Fiddle about with it with your fingers if you have to. Get that bird to step off onto the carcass and get it feeding. Once it's had a good feed on that carcass, using the same species of carcass, then, for goodness sakes, you can lower the weight if the next time you drag it, it doesn't chase it. It doesn't got to chase it far. And the next day, try again. The hunger will kick in. But don't do that until it knows that it can eat that as food. I'll add to the end of this a longer run before the video is finished.